gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with spunk instead of that funk. This is the After 40 Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal, and I'm ready to talk some shit. Let's go! Hey, Superwoman, welcome back. It's your friend Crystal coming at you with big hopes that you'll take away an action from this week's podcast, whether it's just making you think or just inspiring action to get some desired results. This weekend, I was going through the pictures on my phone and getting rid of the ones I didn't need. And I came across a picture of a bearded dragon that we used to have. His name was Sammy. And we got Sammy. It's an interesting story, actually. We went to the beach and my daughter fell in love with hermit crabs. So my husband was supposed to go to the pet store and grab, or the mall, wherever they were, and grab a hermit crab in a cage and tell her the hermit crab followed her back from the beach and wanted to be her new pet. And after my husband came back from the pet store, there was an aquarium with this lizard inside. We're not talking about a gecko. We are talking about a bearded dragon. And if you know anything about bearded dragons, these things get huge. So he was an interesting pet, and his name was Sammy. And it actually reminded me this weekend of how Sammy used to shed his skin. I mean, he would shed his skin so often, and it was so gross. It would actually stick to him for a while even. Like, it would stick to his face and stuff, and you couldn't pull it off, but it stuck, and it could stay on him for weeks. But when it came off, he was like a new man, a new lizard. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't that be nice if we could just shed our skin and transform ourselves? But the truth is, we do shed our skin. And here is where a lot of women get all funked up. When we're younger, we're told when to shed our skin. And as we get older, we forget to shed our skin. Think of it. When you're young and you're a child, you're told what to do, what to measure, where to be. Your routine and structure is handed over to you. You're going to school. It's all set up for you. You just have to follow and execute. But then we shed that child skin, right? And we move on to, let's say, college. Even there, we're still given what we have to follow, the directions we have to follow, right? To get our courses complete or to get our degree, we have courses to complete. But in college, we were still being told what to do and when to do it and how to get that degree, how to get that measure of accomplishment. And then we shed that skin, right, and move into adulthood. And we find our job, but in that job, we're still told what to do. We're told what to measure, how to get to our next promotion or how to get to our next leadership role. And just like college, we're told what projects need to get completed, and we are told what timelines need to be upheld. And then after years of doing the same routine, going to work, being mom, being wife, whatever the scenario, you forget to shed your skin. You have forgot to shed skin along the way. And maybe this is you. Maybe you've actually never, ever even thought about giving goals to yourself because it's always been given to you. And maybe you're that person who's had many goals to move up in your career, have a certain amount of kids, or be married by a certain age, or drive a nice car, or have your mortgage paid off by the time you're 40, travel more, save for retirement. Do those goals sound familiar? And these are not the goals I'm talking about when I am talking about measuring goals. We've always had things on the outside of us, our external world, that we're given goals for or that we think of ourselves. But what about internal goals? Have you ever set internal goals? And an internal goal meaning like what you want your heart to display to others. How do you want to show compassion for your husband or your partner when they're sick? And don't lie, ladies, you know that's a struggle. Okay, I love laughing at my own jokes. But anyway, another internal goal. How can I find more patience? A goal centered around that. It is okay to set goals to get external things. But next time you sit down with your goals or your non-existent goals, start to go inside, more internal, a little deeper than the external thing that you're trying to achieve. I recently had a client And I asked her to set an internal goal on how she wants to genuinely treat herself when she makes a mistake, because she loves to beat herself up. And I'm sure that there are many more women around here that would say she's not alone. And I believe this is a piece of the secret. Setting internal goals instead of so many external goals. We're so used to achievement on things we can touch and see and show everybody. But what about that internal? I truly believe this is the secret piece. Because that, once you start accomplishing those internal goals, we just start naturally growing. And guess when Sammy shed his skin? When he was growing. We start shedding that skin that likes to gossip, or that skin that's comfortable staying comfortable, or that skin that overthinks, or that skin that likes to bring others down to build ourselves up. And you don't have to stop there. Sammy shed all the time. I'm telling you, it was so damn gross. And let me tell you, when he shed that skin, he flaunted it too. I don't know if you've ever seen a bearded dragon dance, but he would do, my girls have this song, the jiggle jiggle, in their head. We always kind of laugh. We're like, he did the jiggle jiggle to get his skin off. And it was hysterical. And I just think about that with us. Like when you start getting that dead skin off, shed that ugly skin. I shouldn't call it ugly, but shed that skin that you don't want to be you anymore because you've worked on those internal goals. Think of the magic, your internal goodness, all that internal goals you're working on pushes that dead skin off that you don't want to be. It forces all that dead skin off of your outside of your body, that stuff you don't want to be anymore, and transforms you. So we do have the power to shed our skin and transform. Yes. And as I sit here and speak to you, it's funny. I'm actually sitting in the dog park waiting to pick up my daughter from guitar lessons. And in the dog park, you can actually see dogs' fur flying off in the air. Like they're shedding right now too, because spring, summer's around the corner. Or maybe that's just my wishful thinking. But nonetheless, dogs do shed their fur to get their summer coats. And then you start noticing all around you in nature, trees shed their leaves. Like we're all designed to shed our skin. And had we gotten that hermit crab instead of Sammy, he would have shedded his shell to move to a bigger shell. Think about it. A new and improved look. One that makes you feel proud, feel good from the inside. One that is glowing every time someone sees you. Think of Sammy in his aquarium, strutting around like a hot new lizard with new skin. And I said earlier in the podcast or in this episode that we forget to shed our skin. I'm not sure we forget as much as we just were not taught this. We were not taught to set internal goals. And I say this all the time, but I want to remind you how Sammy's skin would actually stick to him for a little while. You couldn't pull it off or it would actually hurt him. Just remember that when you are setting these internal goals, they're not an overnight thing. There are some old parts that are going to stick to you that you can't get off. But keep working on the internal, and then eventually that skin will all fall off. A new you. And as the quote goes, the most important person you meet in life is your higher self. So start there. Start with thinking about shedding a layer of skin, setting internal goals. You can do it multiple times. You can do it as many times as you want. You can shed new skin every time you gain an inch of growth. Don't think of it like cosmetic surgery where you go in and come out looking all fresh and new the same day, or where you go in and add hair extensions and you come out completely transformed. It does take time. After we shed that skin, then we can go in and put in some hair extensions. But set those internal goals. Who you want to be. What values do you have to be perceived by others? How to always keep your heart open, no matter the circumstance. When you change on the inside, set those internal goals, everything will start to change around you. Those external goals will suddenly seem within reach. So ladies, let's step out of that funk. Start creating some internal goals and start shedding some skin. Here's your permission slip to shed some of that skin. And girl, you know what's next. Let's go. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, Now is the time to go on Funk Your Mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up and go!